Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm playing Cross Derby, where kings are stuck in corners and knights race to deliver checkmate. My goal is to win 3 games in a row. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1 we are paired with Forktopus, who I'd imagine is going to be looking for forks. We get the knight out. I'm going to play my usual opening. This is by far my favorite variant. Oh, that's so funny. They say no way. I'm starting to realize I should really just add a text box so that I don't have to keep overlaying the chats that happen. Okay, let's try this. I don't want to flag, but at the same time, I also do not feel like editing the heck out of this after. Oh, there we go. Look at that. It's almost like I'm a YouTuber. Okay, let's go like this. Can you tell that I'm doing this on the fly? There we go. That looks good. I'm a big fan. Ah, thanks for watching. Trademark smiley face. Okay, now let's actually play the game. Knight out to c7. It's so funny. I'm not going to take the time to type out extra and explain why that took so long, but Fork, if you are watching this video, thank you for your patience. We do get the pawn out. I'm going to go for the gullet on this one, dive straight into a3. Again, there are only 2 squares that you can checkmate from, which for me, since I'm playing as black, are c2 and b3. We get a4 from the opponent. Again, I used to criticize this move because in my opinion, you should be like hyper focused on the attack. And I still kind of think that as a human, you really should be focused on the attack and not on defending pawns. But the engine, which one of you guys actually sent me last time to use to analyze this variant, which was very, very cool, actually suggests pushing the pawn so that later you can force trading off this knight because it's kind of trapped in a sense. We get the knight developing as well. I'm going to push the d pawn. I've also been a fan of the strategy of leaving these 2 knights glued to the back of the position. So I basically play with all of my other knights instead. Reason being that obviously these hold on to the critical sort of checkmating squares that the opponent will have to try and threaten if they want to win. Now the knight goes back and doubly defends c2. I don't think I have to overthink this. I think I can just develop my pieces. For anybody wondering, the time control is 3-2, so we do get 2 seconds added to our time for every move that we make. And I just realized why they were so focused on defending this pawn twice. It's because they wanted to take my d5 pawn. That makes a lot of sense. I'm actually going to leave this back here. I'm going to leave this back here so it's a nice little reminder that I don't really want to move those 2 pawns. Anyways, we get knight to d5. Now, question is, how on earth do I continue this attack? How do I justify having lost my d5 pawn, if I even can? Let's go e6. e6 loses this pawn. Okay, I don't need to lose any extra pawns, and I'm down to 28 seconds. So I'm going to push b5 with the idea of literally just not losing the b6 pawn. Also, I stand to lose a lot of rating. I'm still ranked number 4 in this variant, but I stand to lose a lot of rating if I lose this game. We get knight to c3, putting pressure on the b5 pawn. Let's go ahead and just trade. They take back with the knight. I'm just going to keep trying to apply pressure. I'm honestly not looking for anything specific. I'm just looking to throw my knights in their general direction and hope that something good comes of it. They're also kind of applying my strategy. You'll notice their 2 knights that defend the critical squares are also very well placed. Okay, we'll go ahead and take. And I need another knight targeting c2. They take back with their own knight. But how on earth do I do that? I have 15 seconds to decide. Let's just bring this knight out to play as well. I still have these 2 critical knights defending, but I do only have 14 seconds. I'm thinking if I can do something like that, that would be amazing. Unfortunately, that square is covered at the moment. I'm not really sure how I make my way over there. Maybe I just go to e4. That's like the only square that I have more control over than the opponent, or did anyways. Let's just push this pawn and buy some time. Knight goes back. I mean, I could go in now. Again, I'm not really looking for anything specific. I just need to start moving some pieces around so eventually I can actually play into a concrete idea. Knight goes to e5. Holy cow, I am under a lot of pressure here. The question is, am I fast enough to actually mate the opponent anywhere? Okay, I'm definitely taking here. They take back. Let's go in, and we're threatening mate on b3, and I don't think they can stop that. So the best they can do is try and sack, but even then this pawn is still defended. So I think I may have run away with the checkmate. Time trouble and all. Even OBS issues. They say GG's in chat. They do make their final move. We do give mate. Before we move on, of course, I have to say GG's. GG's. All right, and with that, a little bit closer than I wanted it to be, but with that, we do win game number 1. Okay, I should probably take a moment to make this look a little nicer as well, since I'm not actually in the game anymore. Did that actually help? I have no idea. Maybe I can scoot this down. Look at that. Now that is a chat. Okay, with that, we win game number 1. Let's go to move on to game number 2. Oh, immediately paired with Zappy Master, rather Zappy Mastermind, a rather terrifying name. They also play knight to e3. Very interesting. I'm going to insist with my c5 move. First of all, because it's top engine move, and whether or not the fact that I know that is necessarily fair compared to that, considering that's not necessarily a widely available tool, is debatable, but it is definitely advantageous. We get knight to c3. Now, how do I continue pushing through? Knight d6, and then I try for b5. This is another sort of long-held theory of mine that I want to always engage on this side of the board. That doesn't necessarily mean I have to be winning or I have to know that that move is directly advantageous in some way, but in general, just keeping the action on this side of the board, keeping the sort of chaos, the entropy developing on this half of the board, and this is kind of applicable to real chess, at least when opposite side castling happens, is also true. You want to keep the action on that side of the board, whichever side you're attacking on, because that means this side of the board is basically like still water. Nothing is happening over here, nothing changes. You want the change to be happening on this side of the board instead. Now, of course, you want to play precisely, so I'm trying to decide which way I want to break through right now, and I think c4 looks a little more promising, because eventually I'd like to make my way to a3, but I guess I can do that this way as well, right? Takes actually removes the knight, which means knight to a3 can then happen. So I guess b4 is a little more precise, but I can be pretty confident that both of those moves are probably decent. Also, c4 kind of walks into b4, which would close the position. So maybe b4 was actually pretty important there. We get knight to d5. Does target this pawn. I mean, I could trade first. I could also just take, which is really strange because it kind of plugs a3, meaning I can't use that square anymore as a launch pad for my knights, which is really interesting. I could also just play e6. If the opponent wants to trade, they're going to have to allow my knight to come into play, which I think I like. Firstly, I'm not losing a pawn, and secondly, if they do trade, it develops one of my pieces. If they don't, they could of course just place their knight on e7, but it's kind of weirdly trapped. I mean, you can never really take a free piece. The only other piece that could attack a knight is another knight, and that would just lead to a fair trade. But we do get that capture. We get a capture on b4. Of course, we'll take back. And again, I just want to keep the focus on this side of the board. So all of this, in my opinion, is favorable, even though I'm kind of losing a pawn here. I mean, I could just defend it, but then I'm not defending f7. Well, I'm defending it with this knight. Maybe it's okay. Yeah, let's go here. Let's risk it for the biscuit. It's not really risking it for the biscuit. It's literally just being greedy and holding onto my pawn. Because in my gut, I don't want to give it up. Okay, now they're doubly attacking that pawn. So there's no way I'm going to hold on to it now. I mean, well, there's this, but then they take, and then I just double my pawns for no reason, just for the sport of it, which doesn't seem particularly wise. I mean, I could do this too, and then really just iron grip that pawn, hold onto it like a child that doesn't want to let go of its like toy. But I don't know if that's necessary. Sidelining my knight with nowhere else to go, just holding onto a pawn, death grip on it. I don't know. It might be necessary, but it sure as heck is ugly. Let's just go for the attack. I don't feel like playing this game by holding onto a pawn. Although again, from running those engine analyses, we know that from running these positions through the engine, we know that in general, white has a sort of advantage, kind of like in regular chess. So black playing for equality while white plays for an advantage isn't that strange, but it's just such a sad, in my opinion, such a sad way to play. The knight does take. I think I'd just rather ignore everything. I'm just going to walk past them and as best I can target whatever squares I deem are weak at any given moment. Ooh, knight to c2 is super interesting, actually. I don't actually have to take it and allow them to go back. I could just leave this knight here and I can always take back and continue that sort of pressure. The question is, how do I advance other than that? I'm going to go here, I think. I think that makes sense. Again, f7 is, it's got me really on edge. Like knight to e5, I probably should be playing more defensively, but it just feels better for me to play proactively. And I probably should not be playing a variant that is almost completely based on calculation, based on how I feel. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like once you start hunkering down, the opponent starts getting their flow. And once that happens, you're probably in deep water. Ooh, e4. So I'm going to take with check. And again, I just want to break down their defenses as best I can. So I've gotten rid of a knight and I've brought another one into play to replace it. They've got some nice central control. Again, is knight to e5 actually losing? No, knight to e5 isn't losing because I'm literally threatening mate right now. Okay, cool. And the time situation has managed to even itself out as well, which is good. Very promising. So I think they have to defend their knight. I'm pretty sure that's like their only choice. At which point, I think then maybe I can start thinking about getting this knight out as well. I don't know if that's way too risky. I mean, they're down to 20 seconds as well. well. So the time situation is definitely in my favor, which is not something I get to say all that often. Okay, we're still threatening mate, so okay, not there. We're threatening mate here, so somebody has to come and defend it, and we're threatening mate here, so he has to stay there and defend it as well. So these two knights will be paralyzed, and there is no pawn that can move my knight from d4. So I am literally free to do whatever I please with all of these, or with all of these other knights. With my one other knight, he's free to come out, target b3, and that should just be a forced mate. We do have the pawn storm on the way, but it's just not going to be in time. Again, we spent the entire game engaging on this side of the board, and now we have that forced mate. Again, I don't know if my philosophy is perfect, but in my opinion, it's practical. With that, we win 2 games. Let's go to move on to game number 3. Okay, game number 3, we get paired with the exact same opponent. I won't count this as the third game, but I'm more than happy to play it out. We do get pawn to d4. I'm going to play c5 again. I'm going to kind of blindly follow that same principle, even though, again, I am playing with the black pieces. I just want to engage on this side of the board. Start by developing my knight. If they allow me to get my knight on a3, I will definitely do that first, and then I'll sort of focus on how the rest of the position will sort of untangle itself. We do get knight to a3. Now, the problem is, this is kind of what the engine was suggesting as well, is you let the knight go to a3. It costs me 1, 2, 3 moves to get there. And then white in one move can sort of trap my knight and force it to trade off. Okay, I think my opponent just allowed me to mate them by accident. With that, we do win another game, but we won't count that quite as game number 3. All right, game number 3. We get fork again. That's so funny. So we will play the exact same opening that we play with the black pieces with the white pieces. It seems to be the best line to play in general. We get knight to d6, and we'll just go for the exact same idea. I was also thinking, I mean, this poll should be out already if you guys are watching this video, but I was going to make a poll asking you guys if I should play some of the more obscure variants on chess.com, because I've played all of the most popular ones now twice over, and this will be the 3rd time through now. Let's continue with d3, just looking for that e4 push. And I was wondering if you guys would want to watch me play some of those really, really obscure, complicated, introducing 15 different strange piece sort of variants. Now, not all of them are like that, but most of the ones that I haven't touched, I'll be totally honest, I've just been very intimidated by. They look very scary, but I'd be willing to bet that with a little bit of effort, I can make it, first of all, more digestible, and secondly, maybe even I can get kind of good at those variants as well. Get knight out, looking to take. I'm a proponent of sacking the pawn. I'm just going to focus on keeping my initiative on the king side. But yeah, actually that poll should already be out by now, so I guess it's redundant for me to ask for you guys to leave a comment as well. But let me know if you guys do have a specific opinion on whether or not I should play some of those really obscure variants, or if I should just mostly stick to the main ones. We do get knight to d5. Am I getting rock and rolled here in a second on c2? I mean, I always have this move, which doubles down on the defense, so I should be okay, I think? I mean, I also have c4. That's fine, right? Yeah, there's no reason for me not to play c4, right? We've forked the forktopus, so I think that says something about how good we are at finding forks. That would be so perfect to clip and then just like put all of the times that I've fallen for a fork right after as an edit. Horrendous. Okay, we do get knight takes f4. Let's go ahead and take back. I think this is pretty much completely winning now. We do get knight to d4. Again, it's a great place for the knight, and now that I've overcommitted these 2 pawns, although I did win a knight, so it's not really overcommitted, there's no way for me to boot this knight with a pawn. So if I do want to get rid of it, it's going to have to be with a trade of some kind. And I don't really think I have that at my disposal. I'm going to play here. No, I should just continue my own attack. This single knight is just not going to mate me. I mean, unless they do something like this and then go to b3. But I'm going to go knight to g4. Again, they actually can't do this if I go if I move my knight to h6, because then I target f7. And you really see that push and pull a lot in these very aggressive variants. I mean, in this one, it just shines through an insane amount because it just happens to be that dynamic. I'll start with the en passant, but I'm landing here anyways. But you really see that push and pull where if I'm attacking you, you can't come and attack me, which is kind of where my reasoning of, instead of defending their attacking ideas and letting them get into that position, instead of doing that, you should just go for your own attack. And a lot of the time that sort of stretches their resources thin. They either go for their attack and basically let you mate them, or they have to stay back and defend. So in general, just going for your attack is kind of a 2-in-1 sort of situation. We get knight up to e6. Okay, if I can just attack g6, I think I'm winning. So where's this knight going? f4? It's probably not ideal for me. What can I do here? Oh, I'm down to 20 seconds as well. Okay, I think I just have to move anywhere. Oh my goodness, wait, do they have knight takes and then knight takes d3? Because if I take with either of these knights, they have checkmate on me, but I don't think they see that idea. I'll play knight to e4, and I want to go knight d6, target the square twice, and then that should be forced mate, right? They can't defend it from here because of the pawn, and they obviously can't put one knight on top of another. Oh, they move back. So they cover d6. Oh, goodness, I have to play fast. Here? They do take. If I take, can they just take and force win? If I play here... Oh, I think I'm in time. Oh, goodness. I'm down to 3 seconds. All right, and even though I was super choked for time, I did somehow manage to get that mate on g6. I will say GG's in chat to the opponent. I just realized I've already played this player as well, so let's go to move on to a true game number 3. Oh no, I think it's just Zappy and Fork online at the moment. I'll play this game, but I have to set a rating range for game number 3, I think. Oh, they've started playing this opening. I mean, they play it with the pawn a little bit shorter, but you'd imagine they're going for the same idea. They have that central development. I'm a little more aggressive. I like to just go straight for that a3 square so I can control c2, right? So they do move the pawn out of the way. I land the knight on a3 and they force the trade. Interesting. I guess I have to take. There's really nothing to calculate there. Now, let's go knight to f6, and I'd like to play d5. I don't want to develop this knight yet because it stops me from making that push, but they're going to stop me from playing d5 as best they can. Let's go e6, double down again on that d5 push. We don't get e4, so is this okay? Yes. We now have enough defenders, 2 attackers, not enough for them to win material. And there's no g5 move or anything removing one of the defenders. Right, so they do take. Now, do I take with the knight or the pawn? I actually think I take with the knight, because threatening to put the knight on b4 is concrete, while taking with the pawn, if I ever push d4, they kind of just move past me. Right, so they do decide to trade that off. I do take back with the pawn, knight d3. Now, this is my last attacking piece that I don't consider sort of a crucial defender. We do get knight to e5. Let's go as b5. b5 just feels so slow, though. What about f6? Is that totally insane? I don't think so. I actually think f6 makes a lot of sense, because I'm well defended enough back here that one single knight just can't pose a threat, right? So it does have to go back. Now, I'm going to start developing my own knights. We'll start with knight to c6. Even though this knight is a little further advanced, which means it could be a little more easily targeted, I'm going to count on him to defend f7 and send this guy who has a very clear path to b4, and I guess d4 as well on the attack. All right, we get pawn to e3. Now, what happens if I play c4? How badly do I regret that, or not? We get knight to f4. I'd play here. It's just hard to see like how to break through at the end. And if I play b5, I just drop c5. Let's go g5. Then I have all these weaknesses. It might be okay. I'm going to go g5 with the intent of going c4 and then b5. I normally don't play so pawn heavy, but I think it's justified here, right? So I've eliminated a lot of these squares that the knight can move to, so it pretty much has to move back in some sense. And then I think I'm just gonna play b5. I don't know, usually pushing these pawns are way too slow, but the position is a little bit stagnant at the moment anyways. Yeah, they play knight e4. If I trade, then they kind of close the center, which I think that's fine. We'll go ahead and take, and then I'll grab this free pawn on a4. And then I'll just play knight here, and either knight to a3 or knight e4, depending on what they play. So I'll come out to the side. Oh, wait a minute. How badly am I getting mated here? Do they even have a way to get there? Yeah, they do. They could play here, f5 to h6 to f7, but they play c3 instead, so their position is perfectly well defended, to be honest. I think I have to play super aggressive. If they ever move this knight, I just have to sacrifice and then go for the mate on b3. That's my only choice. If I hang out back here, I'm gonna end up getting overrun. I think these pawns just get stuck here. I don't think they even promote, so I don't know that I can make progress in this position. I mean, I could play like knight to f4, takes. They would just move the knight here. So it'd be nice if I could get knight to a3 first. But if I play that, what about knight g3? Knight goes here, knight to f5 rather, and then knight d3. They take, I take, but then they mate me one move faster. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna make a waiting move because I don't think I can afford to go knight to a3. But at the same time, if I play knight to f4, then I make it really easy. They just go knight to c2, and I don't know how I make progress with this knight. I mean, it's almost like Zugzwang kind of. Okay, well they play knight to c2 anyways. Oh man, I should have. Okay, I'll just play knight to f4 now. Maybe I should have played knight to f4. Shoot, I think I just wasted a tempo here for no reason. reason. Oh, and they do go past, so they know that they have mate on f7. This is not ideal. Okay, let's go back to d6. If they do move knight to f5, I basically have to trade. There's not really a choice there. We're both pretty low on time as well. Knight shuffles over, looking to get in on b5. I'm gonna go to d3. I'm not so afraid of knight to h5, which was originally guarded, because after f6, there's still a long ways to go before it gets to g6 or f7. But now I do have knight c1 and knight b3, which is really hard for the opponent to defend. They kind of have to go back and cover that square. We're down to 11 seconds. Oh, they commit for knight to f5, which means now I take, and then I play knight to c1, and I don't think the opponent can cover b3. Nice, they take. And with that, we do manage to win that game as well. I would accept a rematch. It was really fun playing 2 games, but I'm going to try to win the last game against a higher rated opponent. All right, and we do get paired with 1700 rated Megan 34. Okay, see, this is what I mean by saving myself editing. Wait, how did I crop this wrong? You've got to be kidding me. There we go. Okay, maybe I'm not saving myself editing because I'm going to have to edit this out too. Or maybe I'll just leave it in. Just all of my mistakes. I want checkmate for real. I'm gonna be like, hey, good luck, smiley face. That is funny. Should I say, yeah, say hi to YouTube. Haha. Okay, they do play my opening. My opening? I feel like that's giving myself a little too much credit. The engine's opening, to be totally fair. We'll go out and target the pawn. They say, good luck to you too, and hi YouTube. That's so funny. Okay, we do get knight to b5. We'll go ahead and take the pawn, immediately targeting f7. And you can only assume, of course, they are also going to take the pawn and target c2. Now, the question is, how do you best continue this attack? It's really interesting because the pieces that do best defending the king are also the ones that are best suited to very quickly come in and assist in the attack. But I think for the time being, I'm just going to grab some central space, and eventually I think I'm just going to focus on developing these knights instead. I just don't think, especially against another player who is also going to play very, very aggressively, I don't think it's the wisest decision to start moving my defensive knights right away. We get pawn to e6, also fighting for center space. You'd imagine looking for that d5 push. The best way that I can sort of halt that plan is centralizing one of my 2 knights. Controlling d3, I went with this one instead because it can go to g4 and either replace this knight on h6 or centralize on e5. We get knight to d6 by the opponent, targeting that e4 pawn. Is it worth it to push? The problem is then there's a pawn on e5, which means there can't be a knight on e5, which is kind of the whole point. So instead, let's go knight to c3. This isn't one of my defensive knights. These are my defensive knights. So this one can develop and also, this one can develop and also defend e4. We get b5, immediately looking to uproot that knight. Now I think I can go e5. I think now it makes sense because when this knight retreats, then I can go knight to e4. It's not as good as a knight on e5, but it kind of feeds into my plan of centralizing my pieces. We get knight to f5. You'd imagine I want to trade off this knight. So this knight can just hang out here, constantly bothering f7. If they take with this pawn, we have knight d5, but of course they take with the g pawn instead. They're still looking to get b4, and there's really nothing I can do about that. So I guess we'll just go g4 for the time being. Again, I just want to engage on this side of the board. I'm putting pressure on f5, and for the time being, even though they can boot my knight and I will have to move out of the way, I'm kind of threatening to win this pawn unless they take and make way for the continued attack of pawns. Okay, so they do take my pawn. Of course, I'm not going to remove this knight. It's literally the only one applying any pressure to the opponent's position. So I'll take back with the pawn instead. And now should they play b4, I actually have knight e4 to follow. They play d6, attacking my center. I'm going to come out with the knight. I want to keep this pawn on e5. It defends the crucial square d6. Crucial because this knight would have to go to d6. It's the only square it has to defend f7, which is currently the square that I want to double down on, which only has one defender, to threaten mate. Okay, I can't get this knight arrow to work. There we go. So if I can have 2 knights on f7, and they only have 1, obviously I win that exchange, and that is one of those critical mating squares they say I might lose here. I don't want to say I hope so, but I'm going to say you played very well no matter how this goes. GG's either way. That is much more likely to be well interpreted and much more similar to what I mean to say. Of course I want to win though. I mean, They do have a minute to see if they can figure something out. Again, I don't think they have a way out of this. The only ways to defend f7 are from d8, which there's already a knight there, from d6, which I will always control with a pawn. Even if they trade, I just replace it with another pawn. From e5, which could be weak, but would take them a very long time to get to. And then from g5, which is kind of impossible because that's where my knight is heading, which means my knight already controls that square. The only other way they can get out of this is somehow they have a counterattack that is faster than 2 moves, but for the most part, their knights are just not developed enough to do that. So we get knight to d7. If I go here, they can sack and temporarily defend, but ultimately I think I always make it back to f7 in time. So knight to g5 should be a forced win. They're under 10 seconds. I mean, they're cutting it real close here, but you can't blame them. Might as well fight until the very end. We do get that forced mate on f7. With that, we do win all 3 games. We say GG's to the opponent. See you on YouTube. That is very funny. They do want a rematch. This won't count as part of the streak because we did win all 3 already, but we will accept a rematch. Might as well toss in a bonus game. Okay, so now we're going with the exact same ideas, but the opponent is ahead 1 tempo because they got the white pieces. I will say I'm also at an all-time high rating. Ooh, a4, trying to stop me from playing knight to b5. I will try my best to insist that I should make it to a3. We get knight to g4. I'm just going to take on a4. Oh, and I guess they just take back. That looked so much better in my head. Okay, what about knight d6? If I can't make it through b5, I can at least make it through c4. And again, I'm more than happy to give up a pawn. We get knight to e3, so knight to a3 to follow. We do have that pressure on c2 now. Admittedly, it's defended twice and attacked once, so it's nowhere near being a checkmating threat. But you know, with maybe like d5, d4, we uproot one of the knights, get knight to f2 by the opponent. Let's continue to advance. So yeah, we uproot one of the knights, and then maybe we go like knight d5, knight b4, and then double down on c2 with only one defender by the opponent. I will say pawns are very good for permanently controlling squares, which is very important. If you just get rid of a knight and make it move out of the way with another knight, that square isn't eternally controlled. But with a pawn, you can have a pretty good iron grip on that square. Okay, so we get knight g4, probably looking for knight to e5, threatening mate on f7. You'd imagine knight d6 does a pretty good job of defending that, so I think I can just continue with d4. If we do get knight to e5, I think I just play here. There's no sacrificing idea that I can see, and I'm just defending f7 twice. They say, is it all right with you if there's any chance you can play a rapid game? Sure, we can do that after. Sure, we can play one rapid game, and then I have to go edit this video. Okay, we do get knight to e5, so I do have to defend the mating idea. Thank you, of course. I'm more than happy to play with you guys as is reasonable. Ooh, knight to d4. Wait a minute. I might get swallowed up here in just a second. Oh, I didn't even think about knight to e4. That's such a good sacrifice. Yeah, I mean, of course, if I take, then I only have one defender on f7 and I'm getting mated. If I don't take, then they're going to try to trade off my knight, and again, I'm getting mated. So I guess I have to go back? Well, there goes my attack. I have very effectively been Uno reversed. Oh, and I just noticed knight to g5. Knight to g5 is a huge problem because you'll notice there's only 5 different ways to reach f7, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4 is already highlighted, and 5. And the problem is I control 2 and the opponent would control 3. So there is literally no way, it's just impossible for me to defend f7 an extra time when all of those squares are already occupied. We'll see if Megan notices knight to g5. If she does, honestly, it's a resignable position, but just to allow them to get checkmate for the jokes of it, I would make a different move. But we get pawn to e3 instead. We wipe the sweat off our brow. We live to see another day by some miracle. I think I really should play f7 now. I have to get these knights off of my back if I want any chance of a counterattack at some point. And I mean, even a counterattack is kind of very optimistically looking far into the future. More realistically, just trying to survive this storm of knights. Okay, I'm gonna take this way. I still have this. Okay, me and the arrows. I still have this defended twice. I'm targeting this knight. G6 is fine. We're living. We are holding on for dear life, but we are playing on. Okay, knight to f3. So I think at this point, I think I can confidently say that for the most part, the pressure is off my back. So it is time for the counter attack. It is time for the counter play. I'm more than happy to let them take on d4 as long as I get knight to b4, but of course they stop us with c3. Now, how on earth do I keep the pressure up? How about knight to e4? That I think makes sense. I'm targeting c3 enough that they're going to need to move the pawn out of the way. Oh, and I get mated on f7. Oh no, I totally forgot that was a defending knight. I got insane tunnel vision. Oh no. Oh no. GG's either way. I'll shoot you a rapid challenge now. That's so funny. I totally forgot that I was supposed to be defending f7. Well, anyways, I'll do the outro here. If you guys did enjoy watching this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Shout out to Megan and who was it? Fork at the very beginning of the video. Thank you guys for watching and for playing with me as part of it as well. And I will see you guys in the next one.